welcome to another episode of Beautiful Subconscious. I'm your host, Shell Marie, fresh out of Bali, back home. It's actually raining outside now in this beautiful heat of Perth, Australia, and I would love to be sitting out there right now, actually. That would be really beautiful. And look, I say fresh really loosely because the serving I got of sickness over in Bali was epic. Oh, you can still hear it in my chest. I just want to give Mama Bali, a shout out. Her energy is no freaking joke. If you go over there and you're like spiritually attuned or you're self-aware and really dive into personal development and you put out there an intention of diving into areas that you are blinkered to, and even though I'm in this line of work, I hold some really freaking powerful tools. My tools are rapid, they're direct. We get into the crux of so many things simultaneously at such rapid speeds. And then from there, we unearth, reconnect, integrate, feel, deal, all the things come up. The power that, and actually this trip really emphasized how powerful my work is. I still don't know it all. And I love putting myself in situations where other modalities are holding me and showcasing my blinkered spots and my fear-based unresolved areas of my subconscious that are holding me back, that are activating the little girl in me to move forward and activating the fears within me, and how much I resist either moving through them or surfacing them up, so much so that I developed this physical manifestation of this fear that was an eye infection, chest infection, and belly. It was awesome. Well done. How powerful am I? So yes, Bali was insane. It was an amazing trip. The first half was business retreat immersion. The second half was family. So my kids came and flew over. Their dad flew them over. Their dad and I aren't together. We have not been together since 2019. And we co-parent together like no other. So that's what's inspired today's episode. I also heard on Instagram a reel by psychologist Zadia Khan. I hope I said her name right. She's phenomenal. I follow her stuff. And she was being interviewed, and what she was replying with was, a good, healthy woman, when you're dating someone later in life, dating her later in life, who has kids, will prioritize her kids first. They won't necessarily put the relationship as their top priority. They will put their kids as their top priority. And to further add to that, she states that a good mother will prioritize or try to maintain an amicable relationship with their kid's father for the needs of their kids and honor that. And so that's what really inspired me when I heard that, because that was a top priority for myself and my kid's dad. And I wanted to speak on that today because I understand that that is not a normal scenario. People question it all the time for us. And yet, even though it's the ideal, that we all dream to have in a sense, I also understand it's not possible in all circumstances. And so what do you do about that when it doesn't always work for your situation? There's still a way that you can hold that amicable relationship to yourself in and around that relationship without you needing to be, interacting with that other parent, the co-parent of that relationship. So we're going to touch on that today. So I guess to start with, what is, just to give a backstory on my ex-partner and I, just a real, generalized version of how we got to this space right now. And I think it's really important to pave that awareness as to how we got here and why it's important. We separated in and around 2019. I, believe the reasons why we started to separate was because we were just two fundamentally different people going down two very different journeys. But we still deeply care for each other and respect each other, that it wasn't actually at all an easy situation. And sometimes it would have been, in my eyes, maybe easier to have someone that was an asshole and someone that was made the decision so much more easier for us both. But because we upheld such a loving relationship, that doesn't mean that it was easier. I don't think any split's going to be easy. So it's just the better of the two, I guess. But it wasn't a decision made lightly, let's put it that way. So we were just two very different people. And as I embarked more on this deep self-exploration journey, I wanted to unpack more of the mind. I realized how much I am such a deeply felt, like I deeply love to feel things and my emotions. I love to understand human behavior. I love to understand the complexities of the mind and the body and the spirit integration and see things in a different light that isn't actually the mainstream for the way that society generally thinks. I love to explore the deepest parts of who we are in order to understand myself better. But I also understand that people don't voluntarily put themselves in their own junk as fun. Why would you? But I absolutely love to do that. And the more I embarked on this, the more I spoke this language, the more I wanted to understand deeply. I knew that that was where we were hitting our parts of incompatibility, or that was the level of our incompatibility. And this is a fundamental thing for me. And also, something that doesn't need to be a fundamental for my ex-partner. And I think so often we want to change them to be more like us or to think like us and to be like, don't let go, just become me or be on this journey with me. And that can cause so much more pain than need, because ultimately you're asking them to be someone that they're not. And you're asking them to embark on a journey that's not necessarily theirs. And that's when you're not honoring the true person that they are, which then will eventually turn into the outcome of resentment and splitting in the long haul. So we quite early on, and again, it wasn't an easy decision. My dad passed away also, which I've touched on on a episode beforehand too, and I think it's sprinkled through my social media as well. I often refer to it. It was definitely the precipice of a lot of my change. But the moment my dad, watching my hero pass away through mesothelioma, my world was completely upside down, front to back. I was rock bottom, and to then pick up the pieces to try fit into a society that just wasn't my way of wanting to live. It's just like, why are we what's the point? Like, am I going to die? I think like on my deathbed going like I played that part so well, but it wasn't the real freaking part that I wanted to play. It was the point of just calling it for what it was. And what I believed my ex-husband and I were destined to be were these incredible co-parents to our phenomenal kids, and showcase and lead this hopefully movement of amicable co-parenting relationships where you can honor individually the person that they are and the life journey that they're on, and be the best co-parents together and in this new family dynamic without it needing to be in the establishment of marriage that we can be so conformed to, partake in. So was it always easy? No. Were we always on this this path of enlightenment? No. Did we have many, many painful, hurtful, spiteful conversations? Yes. Did we, bring out some really gross parts of each other? Absolutely. And what we were able to see above all of that was that's how we did not want to be. That was not what we were about. To our core as individuals, what we wanted for each other, and especially what we wanted for our kids. So we made it a point to uphold respect and love for each other, because I ultimately and deeply, deeply, sincerely love my ex-husband, the person that he is and the way that he is. And I deeply love the person that I am. And we have very different needs, and that's okay. And so we found our common ground and what works for us. And that is what I'm really, really proud of. Like, one of my greatest accomplishments is the co-parenting relationship that we have created and maintained across 5 or 6 years. It's forever evolving, and there will be, It'll forever keep changing. But I think the undercurrent of respect and love and integrity underneath it, hopefully we'll be able to weather the changes and welcome the changes for sure. Not weather them, welcome them, embrace them, because I embrace every part of who this individual is. I embrace every part of who I am. I embrace every part of the kids that however it's whoever pulls anybody in or however it evolves, I trust. I completely trust. So that is where we've landed. And so we do have the ability to be able to co-parent and go on these family holidays together. Is it always comfortable? No. We understand that there are other parties that are involved now as we start to build new relationships and date and things like that. It's not always comfortable for everyone. We do it for the kids. We definitely do it for the kids. They love seeing us together, and there will come a time where we'll have to, things will change, and I welcome that too. But for now, it is absolutely a beautiful thing to be able to show the kids that you can evolve a relationship from love and integrity. It doesn't have to be spite. It doesn't have to be bitterness, resentfulness, hurt. It can be from the love and respect that we hold for each other. And what they get to see is that no one's at fault. Everyone is loved. They are especially loved. Like, they're getting peppered with such a magnitude of love from both me and their dad on the daily that I am just so happy they get to experience that. And they know we have their back. They know that we've got an alignment, and they can't pull the wool over my eyes in relation to their dad and vice versa, because, the kids will try, they'll try their luck in trying to play us for sure. They'll try their best for a hot second and then they'll realize. But ultimately, they do love the unity that we have, and I feel really, really grateful that we can give that to them. And so I guess what happens though when that's just not the relationship you have with your partner? And I get that. First and foremost, I understand that many co-parenting relationships are not amicable, and there are so many layers to it. And I want to acknowledge that it's not easy, and it can be a long game. It can feel tiresome to your heart, to your mental resilience. And it's just an experience. And I'm just sorry that that's the reality of it for many right now. And a split can occur for so many reasons. There's toxic behavior, there's infidelity, there's, growing apart, falling out of love. And I'm not here to judge or say what's right or wrong. I understand that there's a sensitivity to it. And it's just knowing that even if you're not holding an amicable relationship, there's nothing to blame for yourself with that. It's just, what can we do to help support you find a sense of grace and peace and amicability within yourself about the relationship? So if you are co-parenting with a partner that you need to keep physical boundaries from, emotional boundaries from, mental boundaries from, keep doing that. Do not stop doing that. Hold that for yourself. You deserve to have those boundaries, and boundaries are a good thing. They are valuable. What I love to then add on to the boundaries is discovering what hurt is that led to the boundaries, and what hurt may still be unresolved within the individual, my clients, in order for them to heal themselves from that, so they are no longer carrying that unresolved trust, that unresolved hurt and emotions, those unresolved experiences and the scenarios that they're replaying in their head that are then changing and distorting to be something than what the actual reality was. I want to be able to address that, so they're not being held back by that. Because at the end of the day, what we hold in our subconscious will distort the way that we see a situation, good, healthy, anything. It will be whatever pair of sunglasses that we're currently wearing. And those pair of sunglasses are the ones that you decide to wear unconsciously or consciously from your subconscious. So what's unresolved? What did you experience in that relationship? What did you allow yourself to experience in that relationship? And that can sting for a second. And again, that's not to blame, but what did you allow? And start to really write it out. And you are going to purge a whole bunch of stuff. And then once you start to purge all of that out, you can start to find neutrality on it. And then to furthermore, where I get my clients to be is not only in this neutral space, but then that space of love where they're not only in a deep sense of love for themselves, like, thank God, I'm so happy that I'm back home with myself. Like, I am so deeply sorry and understand now why and what happened and what I needed and what I didn't allow myself, what I didn't see in myself. And I can see it so clearly now. And I'm sorry for myself, to myself, and I hold you now. That's where we get to. And so they are at this deep sense of love that they can now radiate that to their ex, to that relationship, to that dynamic. They've got the ability to really be able to see their partner with where they're at in their blinkered state, if they are in a painful state, or why they chose the behaviors that they behaved in and how the interaction took place. They can see it from a lens of love and compassion. And then they can hold that, even if they're not interacting with their partner on a physical day-to-day basis, they can hold that space within themselves where they're neutral, they're compassionate, and they're loving. And that's what they get to showcase to their kids. Their kids get to feel that. Their kids can see that resolve within themselves. They get to see mum not being bitter or upset or crying or being held back in relationships. Now they get to see dad, not angry or feeling like he's being shut down or shutting down, or he gets to feel and embody everything that he desired to be, and vice versa. And they can hold that space for each other and hold a genuine light for their kid's other parent. And it's from that space, what I love is they get to a space where the kid can come home and be like, hey, yeah, he was in a mood. And they, instead of jumping on like, yeah, I'm going to use this to my advantage and kind of like kick him whilst he's down and be like, yeah, he used to always get into moods when we were together and that's what I left him for, or wherever you want it, your ego wants to take it, or a wounded version of you wants to take it. You can then hold your own integrity and grace and be like, yeah, what happened? And look, you know what? Maybe they're just having a day and if you just need space, you just need space. And you just hold that in like that neutrality, and you can hold that no matter what they say about their dad. And obviously it goes without saying that if they're in danger and you've got that parent, you want to be able to step in from a parent point of view if you feel that you need to, and that their health and their safety are, compromised. Of course. I'm just talking from a space of day to day where you're not projecting and you're not distorting because of unresolvedness within yourself. You're actually in a more resolved, centered, easeful space that you can hear and be and accept any conversation about your co-parent and it not trigger you. Because when you're triggered, you're being disempowered, and that disempowerment is going to stop you in your next relationships and your current happiness of today. So that's what I want for everyone. Notice where you're triggered and why you were triggered in order to liberate you from that. And when you're able to hold that space, what you're actually showcasing to your kids is, I've gone through some shitty parts of a relationship and I've gotten to the other side. I've extracted the wisdom and I'm using it for my own growth and evolution. I'm not being held back by it. I've had the capability and the wisdom to be able to draw out what I need and use that for me to grow and to really experience something that I deeply desire and deserve, whether that is the next relationship for the things that were non-negotiable. You're able to then take your power back. And what you're showcasing to your kids is the ability for them to be able to do that. You're going to be able to showcase to your kids that, hey, whatever you're going through, if you're going highs and lows with someone, you've got it within you to navigate through it. Hold your integrity, come back to it one way or another, use these tools, understand that it's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies, but through the storms, you're going to be able to maintain a sense of genuine pride within yourself that you held yourself the best way that you knew how, because you do the work, because you're less reactive, because you've got the capability to be able to just show up with as much love and integrity as you can, and you can hold a space for them to talk about their other parent, and you can refer to your the other parent without it being a trigger for you, because you found that resolved within yourself, and that is what you deserve. So that is why I think it's really important to maintain this conscious co-parenting, is just showcasing to your kids the ability to be able to self-regulate and come home to yourself, more so to the point. And then I guess finally, when you are consciously co-parenting and dating and creating these new relationships and starting these new relationships, like, how do you navigate that? That can be a whole nother thing too, because there's other people that might not be actively, consciously on the same train as you. And there's a point that I will make about that, but it's just understanding 3 points that I believe will be really beneficial as you're consciously co-parenting and creating new relationships. Is number 1, the understanding that your new partner or the people that you're dating will only be able to meet you on the level that they've healed themselves on their past relationships and their childhood hurts. Because when you're moving forward in relationships, and we're at an age now where we're having more beautiful baggage. We have ex-partners, we have kids, we've got businesses, we've got jobs, we got all the kit caboodle. We're not going to necessarily be the only things in their lives, and this can stir up a lot of abandonment issues, a lot of trust issues, all kinds of fears, and it is understandable. So the way that you communicate within your new relationships about this conscious co-parenting relationship that you have, it needs to have honesty and integrity. That is everything. Communicating with honesty and integrity about the conscious co-parenting relationship that you have as you're introducing your new partner to the idea and the way that it's been. It's going to take a little space, and you're going to need to be able to have the willingness to want to soothe their inner wounds. And the way that you do this is by the space that you hold and the way that you communicate. And to be able to do this, you're going to have needed to integrate your past relationships and your childhood hurts. So the way that you meet each other is how far you've done the work, bottom line. And like a muscle, it's going to need to be exercised. And there's always going to be dynamic changes. And I'm not going to say it's going to be smooth sailing by any means, but it's just having the capacity within yourself to be able to understand that, one, you hold the intention and the integrity of the essence behind the conscious co-parenting. Like, what's it all? Why is it all here? What's it all for? Why is it important to you? Why do you value it? Why is this of importance? Holding that intention whilst maintaining the intention and the understanding of, I deserve to have a beautiful relationship and really connect with someone as well. And I trust that when I'm coming from the right spaces, even though it may not always be smooth sailing, I trust that with the right intentions and holding that integrity and honesty as I communicate the best way that I know how, it is going to get through to the other side. It's just going to take a little coming together, a little give and take, in my opinion. I'd love to hear what you think on that. The next point I'd like to make is, if you've done the work, you will attract people with similar values to this, or are open to it, or have the ability to be able to be open to it. If you have not done the work and you're rolling in with your own distortions of how a relationship with your ex should be, or how you should co-parent, then it's going to be very limited to your experiences and to the unresolved hurt and trauma that are clouding that awareness. So you've got to do the work. And I find that if you're attracting the same sort of people with the same sort of insecurities, then on some level that is resonant within you. And so it may be a blind spot that you're not able to see. And so if your outer circumstances are showcasing similar realities or similar patterns, then that pattern might be playing out, more than likely is playing out in you. And then there's an opportunity of growth for you with this too. Because whether, say, you're attracting jealous partners and you're like, oh, I don't want my next partner to be jealous. I'm just sick of that. Like I'm sick, like whatever it is, then that resistance to the emotion of jealousy, like again, just to reiterate, emotions are all of equal value and they're all neutral. It's just the energy that you project onto them or charge them with that makes them what they are. So if you've got this resistance to jealousy, then you've got it coming to you because there's an imbalance of that. You're not neutral on it. So there's an opportunity for you to look into it in order for you to heal yourself, and then you'll be pleasantly surprised that you may not have to deal with that to the intensities that you have been in the past, just as an example. Just remember, everything and everyone on some level is happening for you and your evolution. So if this person is coming into your world to showcase like, hey, you haven't dealt with your jealousy stuff, thank them. They are just like, they're a beautiful opportunity of growth, and vice versa. It's a two-way street. And so just coming in with that remembrance of like, we're all here to serve each other on some level. It may not be the most, pleasant, but doesn't mean it's not as valuable. And then thirdly, when you are in a more integrated state, do your best to seek the best in your partner's ex. Do your best to seek the best in your ex's partner. Do your best to seek the best around the whole situation, the whole dynamic. Just seek the best outcomes for everyone. Just genuinely put your energy out. Like, I seek the best outcomes for everyone. When you're wanting the best for everyone, no one misses out. It's no, I seek the best, therefore they're going to lose. There is win-win solutions in every given moment. Seek them, seek the win-wins, seek the best outcomes. Like my dream in life is to be really good friends with, my ex's partner and vice versa. And it just be this beautiful, happy, like just genuine, not phony as shit connections. And that would be awesome, because how great would that be for the kids? Just love can always win. That is where I'm at. Love can always win. And I really want to demonstrate that as best as I know how. And don't get me wrong, I will have moments that won't always showcase that, but that's what I'm striving towards or working towards. So I'll reiterate my 3 points when you are holding a conscious co-parenting relationship and you're starting new relationships is you and your partner can only meet each other with where you've healed yourselves on your previous relationships and childhood hurts. So healing yourself, you'll be able to meet your partner on a deeper, more integrated level. And when you do that, point 2 will mean that you'll start to attract people that are similar to that. You'll start to see people and be able to attract people who are open and more secure in themselves to be able to hold this space. And if not, if they're showcasing some other things, then just know that there's a beautiful gift within here for self-exploration. And then 3, hold the best intentions for everyone. Just seek the best. Assume the best in everyone. That's all we can do at the end of the day as a human race, I believe. Just assume the best. Like, you know what? Not everyone will be the best and mean the best. And so that is just a truth that I guess you can choose to really lean into or not. But it's just like, for me and my own internal well-being, I just want to seek the best. And if they're showcasing not the best behavior, then I will make it my best situation to not focus on that and put my boundaries up where required to not need that to be in my space. So that's my take. Conscious co-parenting. I would love to hear how this resonated for you. And if anything's come up, whether if you agree or if you don't, these are beautiful opportunities to understand ourselves better, and myself included. So if you're navigating or circulating in these looping patterns within your relationship, you might be finding that there are just similar situations that keep occurring. There is a way for us to find that in your subconscious as to what's playing out. Your body is very innately showcasing like, hey, look at me. It's here again. It's back. Hey. our tools and the way that we subconsciously master and emotionally release and activate inner potential through the liberation movement method that I've created through my programs will rapidly and long-lastingly change the trajectory of your life to a more fulfilling, a more trusting, and a more loving state of living. And that is truly what I want for everyone. So how do you get involved is, firstly, do not miss out on my $111 initial consultant session. These sessions are potent. I can get an understanding of where you're at and which program is for you. And then moving forward from there, we will dive into the depths of your mind, your soul, your emotions, your physical body, what's being embedded in there that are interplaying and interfacing with each other. You are your greatest masterpiece and the best investment that you can make. So do not hesitate to jump on board that. So thank you for your time. I love sharing this space with you. I love sharing this podcast with you. Please DM me with what you've taken from it. Please share it to as many people as you feel that this would benefit. I would love to be able to share this message as far and as wide as I can. So until next week, take care of you.
Audience exclusive.